Hey friends, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all having an awesome and super productive day. Happy Friday. The weekend is here for a lot of you. That means woohoo. So take a deep breath, relax, enjoy. Hopefully you get to have some nice downtime this weekend. We're heading into spring, which is awesome. Awesome, things are warming up. So I have a question for you. What do self-love and the law of attraction have to do with one another? What does one have to do with the other? Everything. Everything. Absolutely everything. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But if we haven't met before, I'm just going to take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Tamie M. I am a life coach. I specialize in empowering women who grew up in fucked up families to break free and step into their power. Step into their power, their full power, understand their value so that they can finally live the kick-ass life that they were meant to live. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a pushover. I don't sugarcoat shit. What I do is teach radical self-love and next level manifestation. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here today. So hopefully you find some value in this. If you have any comments, obviously at any point, don't hesitate to drop them. If you have any questions at any point, don't hesitate to either drop a comment or send me a private message. You can get on over to TamieM.com as well for more information. And let's get started. So self-love and the law of attraction, what do they have to do with each other? Everything, in my opinion. Like, the reality is, when it comes to law of attraction, we're doing it always, whether we realize it or not. The law of attraction is like the law of gravity. It's working, whether you believe in it or not, whether you realize it or not. We're always doing it. The question is, are we doing it consciously and attracting the things that we want? Or are we doing it unconsciously and attracting things that we don't want? And if you're anything like I was for a long time, attracting the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong situations, the wrong circumstances over and over and over and over again, until I finally said, like, man, something's got to give, something's got to change. Like, running into a brick wall repeatedly is no fun, right? And I can tell you that my journey really began with a number of things, to be honest, that I share quite openly about. But it really fundamentally all boiled down to a self-love deficit disorder. A self-love deficit disorder. Essentially, that was what was going on with me. 95% of the game is unconscious, right? 5% of the game of life is conscious. 95% of the game is unconscious. And it's interesting. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day. We were talking about how, you know, the movie The Secret came out, what is more than a decade ago now. And how a lot of people, you know, after watching that movie, you know, kind of got the impression that they could sit on their couches all day long drinking mojitos or pina coladas, visualizing a Ferrari, and eventually, you know, a Ferrari was going to show up in their driveway, and here we are like 10, 11, 12 years later, and they're all disillusioned and disappointed with the law of attraction. Obviously, it doesn't work because the Ferrari never showed up. As a silly example, but lots and lots and lots of examples of folks out there who feel really disillusioned with this whole law of attraction thing because they haven't figured out how to get it working for themselves. Well, there's a whole lot more to it than what The Secret describes. I think The Secret did a great job of introducing the concept to the masses in a very, what I see, kindergarten or 101 fashion, but there's a lot more to it. And a big piece of it is understanding that 95% of the game of life is unconscious, and what's going on in our unconscious mind really is the driving factor for us. So if we're going through life with a lack of self-love, you know, we might be fooling some folks in our lives. We might be doing the act and the dance. We might outwardly look rather confident, and we might even have our shit together in some areas of our lives. Chances are we're struggling in some areas of our lives as well. But we might, you know, be putting on a good face. But the truth is, You know what's going on in your unconscious mind by virtue of what's showing up repeatedly in your life, by virtue of the results that you're really getting in your life. So, for example, as long as I was operating beneath the veil of consciousness, as many would put it, in a place where I was lacking in self-love, no matter how outwardly confident I appeared, internally and certainly unconsciously, I had major unresolved issues, things I had not addressed, all kinds of stuff going on that I had not looked at or handled or dealt with, and it had under the surface a big effect on my ability to fully and completely love myself, to really be standing in a place of self-love. As long as I was operating from there, I was wired in such a way that based on my family of origin and their issues, I was attracting one narcissist after another, after another, after another. Very, very painful. There were 2 or 3 really unwell codependents in that mix over the years, but predominantly, and as things progress, because things typically will either progress getting better or progress getting worse, and if issues are left unarrested, guess what? They're not going to get better on their own. They will get progressively worse. So as things progressed in my life, it became more and more intense, one narcissist after another, one worse than, the next worse than the one before. I was a vibrational match. My vibrational resonance was a match to narcissists, which is a whole other conversation and a great big topic that I love to talk about, and we will go there, but not today. But just to say, for the purpose of, the conversation today, as long as I was lacking in self-love, no matter how badly I wanted to attract healthy love, it was an impossibility for me, because my vibration did not carry self-love. As long as I wanted to attract, I was able to make phenomenal money and do this and up and down and up and down, it was just this perpetual vicious cycle. As long as I'm carrying a lack of self-love, which is the same as saying a lack of worthiness, right? A lack of value within myself, it was very difficult to attract abundance and maintain it and sustain it, right? So self-love has everything to do with the law of attraction, because what we carry internally is what we're going to attract. So we might be getting away with fooling some folks in our lives by putting on, and we might even be fooling ourselves. I know I did for a long time, right? But by putting on a face, and everything looks good on the outside, but we can only really do that for so long. And the truth is, if we ever really want to get to a place where we are able to consciously co-create our reality and manifest into our lives the things that are the desires of our heart, that are there for a reason. The desires of your heart are there for a reason. They weren't put there by accident. Desire means of the Father. That's where the word desire comes from. So the desires of your heart are not there for nothing. They're there because you're meant to have them. You're meant to live out those dreams, those wishes, those desires, those fantasies. You're meant to have them. As long as we're operating in a place where we're lacking in self-love, it's going to be very difficult for us to attract and consciously co-create the things in our life that we're trying so hard to create. So if you're one of those folks who feels disillusioned with the law of attraction, or confused because you feel like I think a lot of people dabble with it, but don't really get how to get it working, or it can work sporadically, or when they finally let go of something, if they can get things in a certain area working well, they might sporadically attract and be like, oh, okay, there's an example of the law of attraction. But that's not deliberate conscious co-creation, right? That's almost like, oops, I did it by accident. Because the truth is, like I said, we're doing it. We're doing it whether we believe in it or not. We're doing it whether we like it or not. We're doing it whether we're conscious of it or not. The question is, are we doing it consciously so that we are consciously co-creating the reality that we actually want to be living? Once I made a decision, and I'll be very honest with you, what happened was I just got sick and fucking tired of running my head into that brick wall. My big challenge, the biggest challenge of my life for a long time, was relationships. All I wanted was to attract the love of my life, healthy love, someone I could happily commit to and live a reasonably, and even more than reasonably, healthy, happy life with. And I was so handicapped and crippled in this area, and I just eventually got so freaking tired of running my head into that brick wall that I finally decided to just stop. I cried uncle and, started doing the work. I read something in a book one day that was the one tipping point. I had been rolling around in personal development for quite some time. I had been on a recovery journey of my own, recovering from family of origin issues and some other things. In therapy, I was doing the work, but there was a moment in time where I read a particular sentence in a book and it just hit me between the eyes. I remember the book. I can't remember specifically. If love, I have it right over my shoulder. I could probably pull it off. If life is something about, oh gosh, now I need to tell you what it is. Now I need to tell you what it is. Can I see it quickly? Ah, there we go. Here it is. So, if love is a game, these are the rules. If love is a game, these are the rules, by Cherie Carter Scott, PhD. So there was something that I read in this book. It was one sentence. It hit me between the eyes, and I realized that I knew this, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? But nothing was going to change if I didn't go deeper and do another level of the real work. And I made a decision in that moment. And I did some of the hardest work of my life in terms of, my emotional recovery and healing journey. And I actually took quite a lot of time out of relationships just to work on me. And it was the best decision I ever made. I took a step back from the whole thing and went on a deep dive within myself. My very close friend at the time who was supporting me, I had a therapist who was also supporting me at the time. They essentially said to me that what I was doing was like open heart surgery without the anesthetic, and that's absolutely what it felt like. It wasn't pleasant, but let me tell you, it was worth it. It was worth it because doing that work freed me. I talked yesterday on my live broadcast about freedom. What does freedom mean to you? If you're chasing this notion of freedom, but you don't have emotional, psychological, or spiritual freedom, you're going to struggle, right? So doing this work led me to a place of such peace and such freedom, emotional, psychological, spiritual freedom. I had no idea that this whole level even existed. So it was work really, really worth doing. And inside of a few short years, I attracted the love of my life into my life. Now I'm gonna little caveat there. I'm a firm believer that I am the love of my life. First and foremost, we have to be our own love of our lives. I firmly believe, based on my experience and all of the information and education that I've gleaned along the way, we have to be our own loves of our lives in order to be able to attract to us healthy love. So I attracted the love of my life. We've now been together just over 3 years. And I can count on one hand how many disagreements we've had, and they haven't been serious. We live a very happy, peaceful, harmonious, blissful, fun, joyful, totally joyful, amazing, amazing relationship, right? So whether the area, I'm just using, my life example as, what my experience was in terms of before the work, doing the work, life after the work. Like the difference is phenomenal, but this can apply to any area of our lives, right? Any area of our lives, whether the area is relationships or our health or our finances. Kind of hard, I think, to work on all of them all at once. I think, it can be difficult to work on all of them all at once. Maybe it depends on what your challenges are, what your struggles are, to what extent you really need to do the work. Some of us have more work to do than others, some of us have more work to do than others. That's a sacred contract. That's all about, I believe, sacred contracts, right? Regardless what area it is that you want to work in, fundamentally, or work on rather, fundamentally, the issue is always boils down to self-love. And if you can do that work, and up-level the garbage and free yourself from that and exercise those muscles of self-love and really get to a place where you can look yourself in the eyeballs in the mirror every day and know that you love yourself. Say it to yourself without coming undone and unglued. When you can do that and you're in that place, let me tell you, life is grand. And then we're in a position to really utilize the power of the law of attraction. Like I said, it's working regardless, but what are we attracting? What are we attracting, right? Like, that's the big question. If we want to do it consciously, we've got to be operating from a place where we are full, or well on our way, because, we're all a work in progress, right? So we want to be, well on our way to a place where we are complete on our own. We are whole. If our baseline thinking is, I am not good enough, I am not worthy, that sort of thing could never happen for me. That would never work for me. If our baseline thinking is along those lines, we've got some work to do. If we want to live a happy, joyous, and free life where we're able to actually consciously co-create our reality. So if that's our baseline thinking, and if you're not sure, again, 95% of the game's unconscious, right? So if you're not sure, just look at your life. What do you keep attracting over and over again? And you don't know why. Journal it out. Look for the patterns. There's a lot of things that we can do, and it doesn't have to take very long. If you have any questions about all that I'm saying and what it takes to get yourself to up-level your level of self-love, right? Like to get yourself to a place where you can literally start to consciously co-create your reality because you're operating from a place of full, complete value, love, worthiness. If you have any questions around that, again, drop me a comment, send me a private message, or hop on over to TamieM.com. Book a free strategy call. I'd be happy to speak with you. If you think that self-love and the law of attraction are mutually exclusive issues, you're sadly mistaken. If you're trying to, put the law of attraction consciously to work in your life, and you're operating from any level of self-love deficit disorder, because that's really what it is. If you have a self-love deficit, you're putting the cart before the horse. If you do this work, you'll be amazed at how powerful you can become over here. Guys, I hope you got some value out of this. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, comment, and or share. If you're catching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button below. You can follow and or like me on all the social media things, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, if I can help you in any way. I have a killer course that is starting April 2nd, and you may want to have a look at that, because it's a 12-week program where we're going to be going on the deep dive necessary, getting you into a place where you are actually able, where is she? To put the magic wand back in your hand and start consciously creating your reality. It's an amazing course. I'm super proud of it. I can't wait to get it started. April 2nd. If you want some info on that, TamieM.com. Once again, thanks for joining, friends, and much love, everyone. Mwah. As always, know your value. Know your value and unlock your freedom. Bye for now.